Do you remember the German World Cup song, 50, 74, 90, 2006? It is a famous German football song that lists the years Germany became world champions, 1954, 1974 and 1990, before dreaming about winning the title again in 2006. Back then, the numbers represented football history, national pride and hope. But today, FIFA apparently needs its own version, the 32, 48, 64. And Infantino still wants more. First, 32 national teams competed at the World Cup, then suddenly it had to become 48. And now, there are serious discussions about expanding the tournament to 64 countries. Honestly, what comes next? 80, 96, 128, whatever keeps the money coming. The first World Cup with 48 teams has only just ended. The new format has not even been properly evaluated yet, but Gianni Infantino and FIFA are apparently already considering the next expansion. Not 52 teams, not 56, no, straight to 64. That would mean the number of participating nations had doubled within only a few years. And at this point, we seriously need to ask, does FIFA still care about bringing together the best football teams in the world? Or is this only about more matches, more tickets, more advertising, and even more money? Before we take a closer look at this entire money machine, subscribe and follow me for more football news, reactions, and discussions. First, something important. A 64-team World Cup has not officially been approved yet. The president of South American football, Alejandro Dominguez, has proposed the expansion for the 2030 World Cup. Gianni Infantino has said that the idea should be examined and discussed. So, FIFA has not made a final decision, but it has not immediately rejected the idea either. And that alone is already surprising, because the World Cup was only just expanded from 32 to 48 teams in 2026. Instead of the previous 64 matches, the tournament now included 104 games, 12 groups and an additional round of 32. That was already 40 more matches than under the old format, and now another expansion is already being discussed. World Cup with 64 teams could use 16 groups of 4, followed by a knockout round beginning with the final. 32. That format would probably create around 128 matches. That would be twice as many games as the traditional 32-team World Cup, but would the football become twice as good? Of course, there are arguments in favor of a larger World Cup. More countries would be able to participate. More fans could watch their own national team compete on the biggest stage for the first time. Smaller football nations would receive attention, revenue and valuable experience against stronger opponents, and fundamentally, I think that is a beautiful idea. Football does not belong only to the biggest nations in Europe and South America. That smaller countries deserve their special moments too, but does almost 1/3 of FIFA's entire membership really need to qualify for the final tournament? FIFA has 211 member associations. With 64 participants, nearly 1 in every 3 countries would be at the World Cup. At some point, qualification itself begins to lose its value. Reaching the World Cup should be special. Some countries wait decades to qualify again. Fans celebrate in the streets when their national team finally returns after 20 or 30 years. Other nations experience their first qualification in history. But the more places FIFA gives away, the less extraordinary that achievement becomes. When nearly every major football nation is automatically present, why do we even need such a long qualification process? And this is where my biggest problem begins. FIFA talks about inclusion, unity, and giving smaller nations more opportunities. That sounds wonderful, but more teams also mean more matches, more tickets, more television broadcasts, more advertising, more sponsors, more content, and therefore, more revenue. You do not need to believe in conspiracy theories to understand that powerful financial interests probably play a major role in this expansion. That does not prove that FIFA is motivated only by greed. But let us be honest. When a successful product expands from 64 events to 104 and then possibly to 128, it suddenly has far more things available to sell, and this has become the basic philosophy of modern football. The Champions League became larger. The Club World Cup became larger. There are more international matches, new formats and additional rounds, And while players constantly complain about exhaustion, injuries, and a lack of recovery time, football authorities continue to offer the same solution: more matches. But the World Cup is special, precisely because it is rare. It happens only once every 4 years. The best national teams in the world meet each other. Every match feels important. Every defeat could mean elimination. But when the tournament becomes larger, longer, and more complicated, that magic could slowly disappear. The 48-team format was not perfect either. Some third-place teams still advanced, making it difficult for many viewers to understand exactly which results were needed. Teams sometimes had to wait for results from completely different groups before knowing whether they had qualified. There were also noticeable differences in quality between some of the participating nations. Of course, the tournament still produced surprises and great stories. The 48-team World Cup was not automatically a disaster, but before discussing 64 countries, FIFA should first honestly evaluate whether the new format actually worked. Was the tournament easy to understand? Was the quality high enough? Was it already too long for players and supporters? Did the additional matches create more excitement or simply more content? And the 2030 World Cup is already complicated enough. The main tournament is expected to take place in Spain, Portugal and Morocco, with anniversary matches also planned in Uruguay, Argentina and Paraguay. That means 6 countries across 3 continents. And now, FIFA could possibly add 64 teams and around 128 matches. At some point, this stops feeling like a normal World Cup. It becomes an enormous football festival that keeps expanding until every possible ticket, television slot and advertising space has been sold. The most important question is therefore not, could FIFA organize a World Cup with 64 teams? Of course, it could somehow be organized. The real question is, should it happen? Just because something can become larger and more profitable does not mean it becomes better. FIFA should first properly evaluate the 48-team tournament. Only after that should another expansion even be considered, because the World Cup does not belong to Gianni Infantino. It does not belong to the sponsors, and it does not belong to executives who want to sell a bigger spectacle every 4 years. The World Cup belongs to the national teams and the fans, and maybe we do not always need more. Maybe we simply need a tournament that feels truly special again. What do you think? Would a World Cup with 64 countries be an incredible opportunity for smaller nations? Or is FIFA slowly destroying the most important football tournament in the world? Tell me your opinion in the comments, and do not forget to subscribe and follow me for more football news, reactions, and discussions.